Our next guest speaker is Leo Ehrline, Executive Vice President, Chief Administrative Relationship Officer with the Brooklyn Nets. And I know everybody's going to ask you this question, so I'll get it out of the way right away, Leo. Have you partied with Jay-Z? He has partied with Jay-Z. He joined the Brooklyn Nets in 1996, been a key liaison between the Nets and the team's ownership group, as well as playing a major role in the organization's seamless transition between business and basketball, in addition to being deeply involved in the Nets' new home, which is a beautiful building, the Barclays Center. Ehrline remains active in all aspects of Nets sales and marketing, as well as community and consumer relations. Prior to joining the Nets, Ehrline spent 19 years at the Meadowlands Sports Complex. He had a steady ascent up the corporate ladder, working his way from the accounting office to the box office and eventually managing all the marketing and sales efforts at the Meadowlands. He's a native of Medford, New Jersey, graduated from the University of Notre Dame in 1977, still reeling from that Alabama beatdown. Currently resides in Rutherford, New Jersey. Leo and his wife, Kathy. Two sons, Leo, project coordinator for the 2014 Super Bowl Organizing Committee, and John, who's a junior at St. Joe's University here in Philadelphia. Is John here? John, how come you haven't taken my class yet? I don't think I'm teaching next semester. Yeah, you blew your window. Next spring we'll get you, definitely. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Leo Ehrline.
Yeah, where is the clicker? Where's the remote? Oh, here it is.
Hello, St. Joe's. Hello, St. Joe's. How are you? I have a great affiliation with St. Joe's, having one son go through and another son here, so you can understand you do the math pretty quick, and you can understand why I like you, St. Joe's, very much. I do know Jay-Z. My favorite story in life is I came home from dinner about 5 or 6 years ago, and I come home to dinner, and I tell my sons that I met this guy, Jay-Z. We had a marketing meeting with him. And they're like, yeah, sure, Dad. You met Jay-Z? I go, yeah, he's a great guy. I was in his office. We talked about the Nets and about the Nets moving to Brooklyn. And they didn't believe me. They didn't believe that I met this guy. What could he possibly have in common with me? So fast forward about 2 or 3 months, we go to a holiday party, and Jay and Beyonce walk in. And me and my wife are standing there, and Jay walks up. Hey, Lee, what's up? So I'm giving Beyonce and Jay a kiss, and my wife, her jaw hits the ground. You do know the guy, I go, I'm telling you. So it's my favorite story about Jay and about his impact in the Nets, taking us from the Nets, from New Jersey to Brooklyn. My background, I went to the University of Notre Dame. I got out of school, and I was looking for a job in sports. The only job I could find was one at the Meadowlands Sports Complex. I was a junior accountant, making about $8,000 a year. And I hated every second of it. But I was in sports. I was working at Giant Stadium. I did the profit and loss statements, so I saw where the money came in and where it came out. The second part of my job was to audit the box office. And in the box office, you had tickets. There was a little more action. There was a little more to my personality. And they actually moved me down to the box office because the guy had some accounting problems. So I walked down, and about 2 years later, they fired the guy, and they made me the box office manager. So now I'm 24 years old, making some money. I had tickets to everything, Bruce Springsteen, all the big shows, Michael Jackson at the time. So I was like the big man on campus. I was single, so sorry, John, don't tell your mom, but I had a lot of friends, and I thought this was the greatest job in sports, right? So a guy comes in, he says, listen, I want you to be our marketing guy. We're going to bring the marketing guy in-house at the Meadowlands, and I want you to head it up for me. And I didn't like the marketing guys. I thought they were all pretty boys. I thought they were all slick. They all had a different idea. But then I found out that they got paid commission, and if they sold something, they got paid for it. So I figured out pretty quick that this could be a pretty good career path for me. So I went from the box office to the marketing side. The same guy ends up taking the job as the president of the Nets in 1995, and he convinces me to leave the Meadowlands and go over to the Nets. So I joined him at the Nets in 96. And it's been a roller coaster. We had merged with the Yankees. We merged with the Devils. We were on a career path. We didn't know where we were going. We were going to go to Newark. Then we were going to go stay at the Meadowlands. Then there was some talk about us going to Hoboken. But we carried the Newark flag, and we were going to take the Nets and bring them to Newark. In about '04, we get bought by Bruce Ratner. Bruce Ratner buys the team, and he says, okay, guys, we're going to Brooklyn. Now, I had never been to Brooklyn, so all of a sudden you go from, okay, here I'm a Jersey guy, born and raised, and now we have to go to Brooklyn. So that's how I ended up on this project and how my career path, 8 years ago, we started trying to get the New Jersey Nets to Brooklyn. And that's why I'm here. And we're here to tell you a little bit about that fan experience at Barclays Center. And I'll get back to Brooklyn in a minute.
Today, I'm Leo's sidekick. My name's Jason Sandoval. I'm the Director of Guest Services at Barclays Center and actually work for AEG. We have a management contract with Barclays Center to help manage the facility. My background in the industry is not too long, but I did graduate from University of Southern California. Don't hate me, even though Leo just found that out today. And I was a communications major. Didn't know really what I wanted to do, maybe very similar to many of you guys sitting out there today, but somehow fell into the country club industry and business and was able to learn a lot about food and beverage service, about VIP service in that industry, and got a couple opportunities with different organizations, different private clubs. Was actually an athletic director for a number of years and basically event planner. After having gotten worn out in that industry and really wanting to do something different, I lived in the downtown Los Angeles area. Always saw Staples Center as a building that had a great reputation. They had won championships, a number of them by that time, and really helped transform a whole area of Los Angeles into what it is now. And I took a shot, quit my job, applied, and lo and behold, a couple weeks later, I got a call. Was offered a very low-level position, much different from what I was used to making, but decided to take that leap. And ever since then, I have been in the industry. I worked with Staples Center for only about 6 months until we decided to open up Nokia Theater, a mid-sized venue at LA Live right across the street. It's a billion-dollar complex that now encompasses a ton of restaurants and Club Nokia and places like that. Went to work for them, helped open up that facility, and it was really an eye-opening experience, very educational. I got to be involved in a lot of the planning process, and it was really exciting. From there, I moved back to Staples Center, was a guest services manager for the Clippers at a time when the Clippers were not very popular, and we were the wicked stepchild of the Lakers being in the same building. If you guys don't know, the Kings, the Los Angeles Kings, the Clippers, the Lakers, the Sparks, at that time the Avengers Arena football all played under the same roof. So looking at the entire world of industries and, arenas, we were one of the busiest and still are. But did that for a while. Also worked with the Lakers for a number of years, helped win a couple of championships there, and saw this opportunity in Brooklyn. So as a director, I came aboard, moved across the country, and Leo and I have been friends ever since. But it's been quite an experience, and we'll run through some of that today.
It's been an 8-year journey getting from New Jersey to Brooklyn. When Ratner bought the team, we had a ton of challenges ahead of us. We had lawsuits. We were 33-0 in lawsuits, eminent domain lawsuits. The community didn't support us in the beginning. We had to do a lot of work, branding and seeding, to get the message that we're not going to be an arena in the middle of your neighborhood that's going to take over. We're going to be good community partners with you. The market crashed. We had a building that was being designed by Frank Gehry. It was going to be this big monstrosity of a building. The market crashed. We couldn't sell suites. We couldn't sell premium tickets. So we had to downsize our building. We went from a Frank Gehry unbelievable, it was kind of an obnoxious model, to a more downsized arena, kind of based out of Conseco Fieldhouse, which is now something else. It's a different brand name. But it was like the building in Indiana. So once the design changed, we had to change focus, and we had to downsize what we were selling to the market. And then our team, we didn't invest a lot of money in the team, and the team really sucked. I mean, telling everybody you're moving from New Jersey, you're going to Brooklyn, everybody was like, Ed, here's your hat, what's your hurry? Nobody really cared about us anymore. So for a couple years, Laura, you can tell them we were just irrelevant in the world. And it was very difficult to kind of, keep that energy going and keep the sales process going while you're fighting through that. So with all the challenges, somehow, we still got it done.
And we did get it done. If you could cue the video, we want to show you guys just a glimpse of what exactly we went through to get it done and some of the accomplishments that we've made. It's been quite the road, quite the journey, and I know Leo's probably going to touch on it, but we recently were noticed for all of our efforts last night at SBJ Awards. We won the Best New Arena, but here you go. Here's the video.
Yeah, we'll
Pretty good,
get
huh?
there. We think.
My guy.
You know, this is Jay-Z's 44. Very high-end, big TVs, except opens up into the bowl. You want those sliced roast beef, you got it, okay? We got the finest food and beverage program in the country here.
Very Brooklyn.
Or courtside seat patrons coming in and out of here all night long. That's an environment called the bowl. The vibe spread of all the celebrities coming in. These are all separate rooms. They're like Copacabana cabanas.
Everything is made fresh here, is that correct?
Yes, we don't make anything downstairs and bring it up. This is like a fully functioning restaurant.
I love the fact that there's 50 million trains there. Anybody from anywhere is going to be able to get to the next stadium.
We are the most technologically advanced arena to date. Our goal is, to have every fan have the best experience.
The infrastructure we have here with the Wi-Fi in the building, there's no sort of limit. So that's, I think, the really fun part. Now seeing it live and sort of what do we do next.
It's not going to be like in other arenas where you get 10,000 people in here, they're all on free Wi-Fi, and you can't do anything. It's designed so that everybody can be on the Wi-Fi, and everybody can be using the Barclays Center app on their phone all at the same time. So we have almost 8,000 square feet of LED in here, as well as the sound system. You see the speaker arrays and the lighting here. It's going to be like no other venue that you've ever seen before.
And you notice how the upper bowl is all dark. Because this is our stage.
As I was saying, we were lucky enough to be recognized last night by SBJ as the best new arena, and Polestar also gave us that same accolade earlier this year. So, as you can see, a lot went into it, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot more to come.
Oh, no question. One of the things that a couple years ago when we put the shovel in the ground, we tried to work on the things we could control, okay? And we've outlined some of them up on the screen. The first one is programming. We went out, and as a new building, and with the garden being renovated during the summer, we were able to take advantage of a lot of shows. We booked it with Jay-Z, 8 shows, Barbra Streisand. I mean, Jason and I got to know each other pretty quick because we were working 30, 40 days in a row. It was every night we had an event, and it was a big event. The people bought tickets in Brooklyn. The market responded unbelievably. They took a lot of pride in the building. And we started to create different platforms in our offerings. We had a boxing platform. We had a family show platform. So we were able to really to capture Brooklyn and the diversity of events from Jay-Z to Streisand in a week. I mean, talk about, fan experience and crowd control. I mean, we were looking at each other like, oh my God, look at this. What's coming next? So we're going to share with you some of those experiences along the way. But it was a lot of fun, and it enabled us to get open in a grand fashion. And because we had so many big events and we were being successful at it, we wanted to tell everybody about it. So we had a whole crew, a team. We have a team that just does the business PR. So if you read Sports Business Journal, we're in there every day for something. We got guys hawking stories every minute. We like to brag about ourselves. That's kind of our fault. But we do get the message out that we're open for business, and we're ready to compete with Madison Square Garden.
So for offerings, our fans have a number of different options. Some of the ticket offerings that we have up on the board are all access. We have a number of all access ticket holders, a little bit over 1,000, I think, right, Leo? And it's unique because those all access people have all access to the concession stands. They have food included, unlimited food included in their ticket, which is a little unheard of. We learned real fast that there's some challenges with that. I think in one of the preseason games, somebody ordered $250 worth of cheesecake from Junior's concession stand and about $500 worth of Philly's sandwiches at another. But it's very, there is dynamic pricing with all the ticket offerings, and then premium hospitality. We have over 100 suites on 2 different levels, actually 3 different levels if you include our vault suites on the event level. And we have 8 clubs and restaurants. So there's plenty of space to entertain those VIP clients, to hold special functions when it's not a Nets game, and to really wow the customer in all of these different spaces, which we can transform into a number of different things.
And on a ticket offering, at the Nets side, we were able to charge from $15 a ticket. There's about 2,000 seats at 15, all the way up to $3,000 tickets for our front row. So we really took advantage of the New York market being so close to Wall Street and the demand for Nets basketball in Brooklyn. One of the big focuses for us was food. And we'd go back to the fan experience. And we went into Brooklyn. We were going to present the taste of Brooklyn in our arena. So we went to, I'm going to tell you, 50, 60 restaurants in Brooklyn and tried to bring them inside the building. The taste of Brooklyn, Junior's cheesecakes. We went to local delis and brought them in. Spumoni's Pizza. So we kind of did away. We lost some revenue in sponsorship dollars because we wanted people to really feel that neighborhood. And when you come to our building and walk around the concourse, you really get a taste of Brooklyn, literally a taste of what's going on around the borough.
What was really important on that is to, like Leo said, exemplify what's going on in Brooklyn right now as it relates to food. And they were just rated, Brooklyn was, as the best food over Manhattan in the entire country. So it's something to be really proud of, and we're glad that we can bring that exact feel to the fans. So another really big thing about our arena is the situation of it being in the very smack dab in the middle of Brooklyn. It's literally in a residential area. If you guys know, it actually was looked at years ago as a new site for Ebbets Field, which never happened, but it was previously the Atlantic Terminal, so a bunch of trains. And what they decided to do is build the course and arena right in the middle of it. One huge advantage that we had was Atlantic Terminal was there, was very close, and it was redirected to pop out with 11 different subway lines right in the front of the arena. You literally walk up from one of 11 trains and you see that site that we see behind us. It's pretty amazing. We found that 70% of our guests travel to Barclays Center using public transit, which, again, no other arena can probably say. Do we have parking? Yes, it's few and far between, but we did read all the surveys and the analytics right, and people are using public transportation to get to our facility. We only have about 4 different entrances, as you see up there, but that main entrance that comes off of the subway, we see upwards of 80% of our guests come through that one main entrance, which you could imagine would present a few challenges.
We ended up with a VIP entrance that's right off of Flatbush Avenue, and literally the black car drop off into the VIP entrance, into your suite or into the courtside club and your front row seats is 2 minutes. So we really made it accessible, and it's actually, it's worked to our advantage. Having the subway access, the place fills up quickly and it empties quickly, and the people aren't driving around the neighborhoods, which was one of the big concerns in the community.
It's utilitarian too. One story is the Brooklyn Bridge was closed for one of the playoff games just a little while ago. So none of the players could get there. They mostly live in Manhattan or Jersey. And we had Marshawn Brooks, which he came through the subway, ran up. It was probably 30 minutes before the game, and he's running right across that plaza that you just saw into our VIP entrance, getting ready to get changed for the game. So it actually serves a purpose sometimes too.
Sometimes it works. The other thing we did was the marketing. Once again, we used Jay-Z, the color scheme, the black and white. We pushed the league hard to let us use black and white. The look of our logo, clean, fresh, and it kind of exemplified what Brooklyn stands for. So we started early. We seeded with our brand 2 years before we got there, and we reinforced it with Hello Brooklyn. That was our campaign. Everywhere we went, we had the team, we had the coaches, we had everybody open up all their remarks with Hello Brooklyn and made that our battle cry. But the most important part, in my mind, was the experience and the people and how we manage the experience when you come to Barclays Centers. Our research shows that over 93% say that we've met or exceeded their expectation as far as customer service. And a lot of that is because of this guy here, Jason Sandoval and his team. They've done a remarkable job hiring people, training people, and I'd just like to spend a couple minutes, or have Jason spend a couple minutes walking you through his process.
Well, it was, when I first heard about the job, I immediately thought Brooklyn. And what do you guys think of when you hear Brooklyn? A lot of stereotypes maybe. Recently that might have changed, but typically when you say Brooklyn and you say service in New York, none of your thoughts are going to be that great. So what I knew is we had to change that culture. We really had to change the idea of guests coming to the center. So the hiring process was insane. We had about 30,000 applicants for only about 2,000 positions. We had 2 weeks of job fairs, and of course, this is all during the construction of the building. We had about over 4,000 people interviewed just for the guest services positions, of which were about 400, let's say. So after all was said and done and we hired everybody, we found that 90% of the people that we hired were from Brooklyn and lived and resided in Brooklyn, which was very exciting for us. We wanted to reach out to the community. We wanted to take that pride that the community had and implant them into the building, and we were able to do so. A lot of these employees that I have are younger. The project started 8 to 9 years ago, so they were just kids when they first heard about it. As the years progressed, they saw that project come to life, and they knew they wanted to work there. They might not have known in what capacity, but they achieved it, and we've given them an opportunity, which was really exciting. So now you have all these employees, and how do you train them to change the culture and change that stereotype that you have in Brooklyn? So we did training, and more training. Before anybody even worked an event, for that first round of hires that we had, they were trained for about 30 hours in total. A lot of book training, a lot of building tours. And one of those factors was the Disney Institute. We partnered with Disney. They came up from Florida, a couple guys, pretty kooky, pretty funny, always smiling. Unusually so, to a certain extent.
Let me tell you a quick story about that. We have an executive meeting, there's about 30 of us, and we go meet the Disney guys, right? So we're opening up the building in about 3 months. We're all busy as hell, and we got to sit through this 2-day class with Disney. So I'm sitting next to the Disney guy, right? His name's Brent. And all of a sudden, this guy comes up, and he's right out of Kansas, Central Casting. Hi, my name's Tom. And everybody stand up and say hello to your neighbor. And I'm like, what the hell is this? So, you know, I'm grabbing a guy. I go, look, this is Brooklyn. This is never going to work in Brooklyn. You guys are crazy. He goes, just bear with me, bear with me. So he goes on, you know, we're doing all these stupid exercises. And so he starts to make you think a little bit. And he goes, just do the extra inch. You know, instead of telling the guy the bathroom's over there, you know, walk him over there. The impact will be phenomenal. So you think about it, right? And he's telling you, I think somebody else mentioned, it's common sense. They just make you kind of reinforce common sense and being nice. And, you know, the day's wearing on, and now the guy's looking at me, and I'm drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit. And I'm like, okay, there's a chance at this, but you're still in Brooklyn, right? And then through the second day, it kind of hits you that, you know what, they don't want you to be Disney World, but they want you to take that concept and bring it to your own world and bring it to Brooklyn. And that's what Jay and his team have been able to do. They've been able to capture that spirit, that Disney spirit, if you will, and make it work in your environment. And it really does work, I got to tell you.
It does, and there is a buy-in to it. You know, you're talking to a potential part-time employee that's in front of these Disney guys that's worked at the McDonald's and the Dunkin' Donuts, and those have all been in Brooklyn, and that level of service, probably not there in their past experience. Was that training ever there? Probably not. But like Leo said, they point out some of the obvious things and they put names to them. 3 of the kind of mantras that they instilled in us was believe, which is an acronym. And then you have Brooklyn's best. They really made everybody believe, and it's the truth, that they were chosen because they were Brooklyn's best. When you look at those numbers, 30,000 to 2,000 hired, we really had the chance to be very selective about who we hired, and we did that. And the last one would be go the extra inch. Not go the extra mile, but as a part-time staff member, when you're engaging with the fan, they want you to go that extra inch, to walk you over to the restroom, to find out where that food stand is, whatever it may be. So those 3 initiatives really stuck with our employees. But that's all fine and dandy, right? You go through that 2-hour training, the employees come out, they're high-fiving each other, but then you have 8 Jay-Z shows in a row. And it's maybe a little bit hard to remember some of those mantras come the 7th night of Jay-Z, which, by the way, I don't think any building's ever opened up that way. So we continually reinforce a lot of these things. We have big lineups through the first couple of months and events. We had big lineups reinforcing all these things, giving them feedback. Course incentives over and beyond what we do for them already. We try to incentivize the employees as best as possible to keep them wanting more, to keep them achieving at a high level, to recognize that effort when they are going the extra inch. And that's really important. Everybody has the need to feel welcomed and wanted, and we try to do that with our employees. In turn, they do that with our guests. And so that fan experience that we're looking to build, they're doing that on a case-by-case basis in the trenches with those guests every single night. The result of that has been a lot of accolades, whether it be in the media outlets, as Leo talked about, or all the guest feedback cards that we get from fans filling out every single night, or the letters that we receive, or the emails. They've all poured in. And all in all, when you look back at it and you think 99% of these people that we hired never even worked in an arena. Now we're 135 events in, almost 2 million guests have come through our gates, and we're still seeing those accolades. So that fan experience, it keeps them coming back, which is one of the most important parts in our world. You know, where are we at without the fans coming back and feeling welcome every single time they come?
So that's kind of our presentation, guys. We got 5 minutes to go. If anybody has any questions for us, I know it's almost lunchtime, but Jason and I are here to answer anything you have. One thing I'd like to point out is when they interviewed people, we really hired by personality, and we wanted people that were going to engage with people. And if you sat there and you didn't respond, or you didn't make eye contact, or we didn't feel you had a little swagger to you, we didn't hire you. And the people we did hire, they got some real energy. So when you walk in our building and you walk into our VIP entrances, you're going to be greeted. They're going to ask you your name. How your experience was, and even on the way out, they're going to make sure that they connect with you before you leave. So when you guys are interviewing for jobs in the future, make sure you engage and make a lasting point. Make a comment. Make a breakthrough. Get through the clutter and make sure you connect with the guy you're talking to. Yes, sir.
Now that you've established yourself with the Nets, and that's become a popular brand with the Barclays Center, with the Islanders coming in, or whatever the name may be,
Yep.
do you have some strategies that you might almost disassociate yourself with the Nets and kind of bring in the Islanders as well as a joint brand almost?
The Islanders, it's a great study beam. They're going to come in 15-16 season, maybe a year before. They want to kind of maintain their logo, their look at the current time. until we get a little more involved in it, do some research for them. We'd like to change them right away, but the hockey crowd and the basketball crowd are much different, as these guys here can tell you. And, we're still doing our research on it. We're just getting to know those guys. They got a great young team. They had a great run in the playoffs, and it was very exciting out in Long Island this past playoff season. So we're excited about it, and we're excited about bringing them into our building. Now, the one negative is our building's not made for hockey. We designed our building for basketball only. So we're going to be a little bit of hybrid like it was in Phoenix, where that one goal was kind of a horseshoe type setup. So it's not going to be an ideal hockey setup, but it's going to be a much better one than they have in Long Island right now.
You guys said initially that there were a lot of problems before as you were getting started with this arena, and you mentioned one specifically about the all-access meal access and everything. How do you go about handling those situations and kind of finding the best route after you hit those problems?
When you put your marketing and your ticket plans out there, you try to take a shot at what the market can bear. You kind of see what your revenue goals are. And we kind of held firm to our prices. We thought that we needed to be at a certain level to maintain a quality team. And we made our prices pretty high, and we kind of gauged them a little bit less than the Garden, a little bit less than the Knicks were getting. And we held firm on our pricing. Unfortunately, the team didn't cooperate. So we were selling at a high-level ticket with a very poor performance team. We really got hot in the summer when we signed Darren Williams and Joe Johnson, which kind of gave us a team. It gave us something to rally around. And once we made that connection with the fans that we were going to try and we were going to have a great team, it really started to flow and everything fell into place. So we were kind of hoping the team would get there a little faster, but when they did, certainly Brooklyn came through in a big way.
I think that's it.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate
Go
it.
Hawks.